Mics are hot.
7 a.m. Time for the opening drive.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico.
For 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck.
You ever been asked, was it worth the wait? Somebody ever asked you that? Hey, was it worth the wait? And usually, the answer is yeah, it was worth the wait. Sometimes, no. I think it was worth the wait for Dak. Boy, did he get paid. Will it be worth the wait for the ladies if after all this time, Bradbury's tenure, they finally get to the NCAA tournament? Will it be worth the wait then? I'm going to guess it'll be worth the wait. What's up, y'all? Good morning to you. It is the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The sports animal, Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. JJ on the call yesterday as the Lady Lobos jumped out to a lead early, down 4-0, and then went on a big run and watched Air Force claw themselves all the way back into the game to get to within 2, and another big run in the second half, and UNM pulls away to advance to the semifinals of the Mountain West Conference tournament with a 67-51 victory over Air Force, the first time, which is it's just stunning. With all the historical success this program has had in Vegas, or Pit West, if you use air quotes, under the Flanagan regime and even under Yvonne, that this is the first time that they've advanced to this semifinal round. But JJ, nice win. They got tested, absolutely. And here comes a team now that I think looks like them a lot, that they split with at Fresno State over the season, and they get a test tonight or this afternoon.
Yes, if there was one team outside the top seed, if you're looking at a tournament going, what's the most dangerous team? It's Fresno State. There's no question they're the second best, and if not the best team in the conference, neck and neck with the University of New Mexico. You have the player of the year, Haley Cavender. You have her sister, Hannah Cavender. So they're averaging 19 and 17 points per game. They have depth. They look, as you said, just like New Mexico in terms of the amount of guards they throw at you. Not necessarily dominant post players, but players that contribute vitally for what they do. And this is a championship-level game in the semifinals.
Yeah, twins versus twins, although they don't play the same position. But let's start with yesterday and what you learned yesterday. Down 4-0, and then they go on a run, and then they're up, what was it, 26-8 or something along those lines. I know you got the numbers in front of you. And then watched Air Force's claw back, and then they go on a run late in the game, which I thought was big for them character-wise. I mean, look, big because you have to win a game, because there is no tomorrow if you don't win a game. But big for them in regards to character and as far as they go in this postseason, however long they play, there's going to be close games. And so they played in a bunch of them lately, and I feel good about this team. And this, again, where I yield to you a bit. In close games, I feel like they don't panic, and they feel comfortable.
That was the biggest takeaway from the Colorado State series, is seeing this team adjust to moments like that. They haven't necessarily been playing the prettiest basketball. Their offense hasn't been hitting on all cylinders, but yet they're able to adjust to all those things you just mentioned, able to counter on punches when they've been thrown at them in games, go on runs of their own to slow down momentum. And I think the theme of yesterday, whether we're talking Lobo women's basketball or the big story of the day of Dak Prescott, was just a sigh of relief. You get through that moment, you get that first one. Because Bradbury said pregame, and he talked about it postgame, like Air Force makes things uncomfortable. He said before the game that we're not going to have easy passes. They're going to pressure everything, on ball, off ball, and you saw that at times. It was an uncomfortable afternoon for New Mexico, but it's also the mark of a good basketball team. Like, it didn't feel like the Lobos were playing good basketball. It didn't feel like it was going to be a good day for New Mexico, and yet they win the game 67-51.
Nothing's going to be easy, I don't think, the rest of the way. If Fresno State's going to pressure him too, and Fresno State's athletic and moving forward. You know, he was asked a question after the game, and I know some Lobo fans have asked this about an at-large bid, and I guess their net ranking is 50, which would probably put them outside of the at-large just on that metric, but it's not just that metric alone. They're a conference champion outside of 50. And he said, I think a lot more people nationally knew our story we'd be a lock. As it is, we'll just try to win our next game and go from there. I don't see them. There's not a lot of bracket projections on the women's side. There are a few. I don't see anybody projected as an at-large out of this league. I don't know if that's fair. I just haven't followed it enough, JJ, and knowing that there was no non-conference really to compare to. They didn't get a shot at Oklahoma this year like they have in the past, or a Texas or a Texas Tech. There's no knowing. Eye test tells you what you see. Should this team or somebody else out of this league, and I guess it would be them because they were the regular season champion, if they don't win the auto berth, should they be considered for an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament?
I haven't been thinking about that, just given the fact that the Lobos only played 3 non-conference games, and they were against opponents that the Lobos were 10 times better than. when you try to start saying, oh, I was a win over Arkansas, Pine Bluff, or Midwestern State, because the competition in the Mountain West has been good, but not to the at-large level.
Well, so the competition hasn't been to the at-large level, but that doesn't mean a team cannot be worthy of an at-large bid. Does that make sense? Now, you're not going to be able to build your resume. And you and I have had this conversation for as long as we've been working together. And I think there's something to be said about the team itself, I've always about the eye test, and you play who's in front of you. And in this odd season, with everything that they were stressed with, everything that they were challenged with, it feels like it's different. And they went out. What are they? 11-3 in conference? Is that what their number was?
Yes.
They're overall 17-3, I think. This 15-3. Maybe it's just not enough games, JJ. And that might be it too. It just may not be enough games.
And even playing all but 2 on the road, I think that's why they probably get a little bump in certain areas in rankings, is playing all those road games. Now, Canyon, Texas, I don't know if that goes down as home or neutral court.
Should be neutral.
The series they played against Fresno State. So I think that might help them in some areas, but there's just not a lot to have a full resume when you pretty much just play a conference schedule.
All right, your feeling coming out of Air Force and going into this is JJ, as you well know, is the voice of the Lady Lobos, and you can hear him and Nikki Heckroth Labato. They will have the call from Las Vegas, or the game from Las Vegas, today on the Sports Animal. 3:30 pregame, 4 o'clock is the tip-off, semifinal of the Mountain West Conference Tournament against Fresno State. So you got a feel for today, because you've seen 2 really, really tough games against the Fresno State team, as you said, preseason conference favorite. They finish as the 4th seed. They have the Conference Player of the Year, and they're dangerous.
Yeah. So 5 of their 6 conference losses were by 9 points. So Fresno State lost the game 2-2-2-2, 1 point. So this is a team that is very dangerous, that is still living up to expectations with the way they play on the court. This one makes me nervous. But this is what you want. You got to beat best teams. You got to beat the good teams to advance in the conference championship, and it's that opportunity now against Fresno State.
All right, we got a lot to do today. We're gonna go a lot of different places today, and bear with us on this, because we're gonna bounce all over the place. When we come back, we'll talk about Dak and his contract, and boy, did that man get paid. Guest list for you, 8 o'clock. Joe Franklin's going to be with us. He is the cross-country track and field coach over at UNM. They just won, their 13th straight conference tournament, headed to the NCAAs, and he's got a juggernaut over there on that South Campus. And we talk about how good programs are, and we talk about dynasties. What Joe Franklin's got going over there is good as anything in the country. And he's going to be with us coming up at 8 o'clock. We're going to talk about what he's got going on and what's coming up. 8:30 this morning, Chris Jans will join us, the New Mexico State men's basketball coach. Aggies open up their conference tournament in Las Vegas on Thursday. They are the 3rd seed in the WAC. They will play the late game against UTRGV, trying to get back to the NCAA tournament again. So we'll talk with Chris Jans and do a little pre-conference conversation with the New Mexico State coach and get you ready for what they've got coming up in Vegas. So that's all coming up for you in the 8 o'clock hour. Get in now, 505-246-0610. That's how you can reach us, 505-246-0610. Bob's in for Micah today, he'll take your phone call there. You can email the show, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com or JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Of course, watch the show on our Facebook page, the OD in the AM. It looks like J Pole's driving that ship today over on the TV side. And so there's a lot of ways to take part in the show. And we'll talk about Dak when we come back. Dr. Coleman Vision, specializes in treating astigmatism with LASIK. Been doing that since 1998. Back a bunch of years ago, I had a high degree of astigmatism. It's one of the reasons I went to see Dr. Coleman about LASIK surgery. The technology he uses is cutting edge. He's played a significant role in developing and testing the current technology, and he uses it. It's used here in New Mexico. It's used all around the country and all over the world. Its technology originated here in New Mexico at Sandia Labs. For years, Dr. Coleman's patients have come to him from all over the country to have their LASIK done at Coleman Vision simply because they know of his reputation. He's the best. He's been in private practice specializing in LASIK his entire career. On any given day, patients at his beautiful office range from doctors to lawyers to college kids to housewives to firefighters to police officers, legions of nurses throughout our healthcare system, people just getting ready to retire. It's anybody. It's you, it's me, it's anybody. They want to live a different lifestyle without glasses or contacts, and of course, there's a lot of athletes who find that glasses and contacts interfere with them training and with their competitions. Dr. Coleman is the best. He is flat out the best. And he's become family, and he changed my life. If you are experiencing anything with your vision and you think you might be a candidate for LASIK, I strongly suggest you call Coleman Vision. 505-821-8880. That's 821-8880. You can visit them at colemanvision.com. It changed my life. I think it can do wonders for you as well.
instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we can see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament. Here's Anderson. She gets it, curls all the way around to her right, gets under the basket and finishes. It's 65-51 New Mexico, 2:05 to play.
JJ Buck along the UNM radio network in the Lobos 67-51 victory over Air Force yesterday. Quarterfinal round Mountain West Conference tournament. Lobos now 2 victories away from a berth in the NCAA tournament. Fresno State will be the opponent tonight. JJ and Nikki have the call. They'll crack the microphone for the pregame show, 3:30 here on the Sports Animal. JJ, the Mountain West Conference men's basketball team was announced pretty much as we pegged it 2-3 weeks ago, except for we all went back and forth. We were differing on who the player of the year is. Neemias Queta is the player of the year, which I have no problem with. I was going with Derek Alston. I think, did you go with Roddy maybe? I know Hunter went with Roddy. I think there were 3 ways you could have gone either way, but I think this is as predictable and as easy to pick the 5 first team all conference. And this was the media list, the official one, I guess, comes out today. But it was as easy as I can ever remember to say these are your 5 guys.
Yeah, first team all conference is pretty much laid out. I think we'll see the same when the coaches poll is announced to date from the Mountain West. And I think the player of their conversation is really interesting between Queta, Alston, and then you're looking, all right, San Diego State, who would it be? I think it would be Matt Mitchell. But I think his knee injury, just missing a few games, probably elevates Queta or Alston in that regard.
Yeah, and I think Roddy was in the conversation as well. I think he was terrific. But I would have gone Alston, but I have no problem with Neemias Queta. So the first team, Neemias Queta of Utah State, David Roddy of Colorado State, Matt Mitchell, San Diego State, Grant Sherfield, who's just terrific at Nevada, and Derek Alston. And this wasn't really a close vote. When you look at the numbers, it really wasn't. Second team wasn't all that close either. Isaiah Stevens of Colorado State, George Shackle of San Diego State, Bryce Hamilton of UNLV, or Orlando Robinson of Fresno State, and then Justin Bean of Utah State. The only one that was close probably would have been Justin Bean, and the next vote getter was Makwach Malawach. So Malawach makes third team. I honestly, I have no problem with any of it. I think it's I agree with this as much as any of these teams that I can remember in recent history in the Mountain West.
I'm right there with you. You look at second team, you give recognition to the best players on the other teams, in this case Hamilton at UNLV, Robinson at Fresno State, Malawach really close with his performance overall for the Lobos. But we see when you are on a good team and you're a good player on a good basketball team, you're going to dominate the awards section at the top, especially with all conference teams in college basketball. And this year I think it played out pretty much as you expect in terms of what we've seen and who we feel are the best players in this league.
All right, we're going to get into this more, but Coach of the Year, Nico Medved at Colorado State. Again, totally agree with it. Neemias Queta, Defensive Player of the Year. Grant Sherfield, Newcomer of the Year. The Freshman of the Year was Marcus Williams from Wyoming. Again, there's cut and dry. I'm just glad McQuatch got recognized. And you and I had this conversation a few weeks ago. Would he not? I'm glad he did. And I think it's deserving with what he did for that. I mean, just think how bad this team would have been without a McQuatch-Malawach this year.
Yeah, it's good to see the conference, those that cover the conference, recognizing what Malawach means to the Lobos, and I expect the same. Whether it's third team or honorable mention, Malawach should be recognized by the league as well today.
Yeah. All right. 505-246-0610 is the number if you want to get in. I said at the top of the show, people will ask you, is it worth the wait? Tom Petty said the waiting is the hardest part. Your boy got paid. Dak Prescott, 160, could be up to worth $164 million for 4 years. $126 million guaranteed. $66 million signing bonus. His first year will pay him $75 million. So after this year and what he got last year, he's already banked at over $100 million. You decide if he's worth it. It's a lot of money. It's high stratosphere money. A quarterback, is this market value? I think this is above market value. But they got it done. So I'm glad they got it done for your sake, for his sake, for whoever, for Cowboy fans' sake, for my sake, so I can stop talking about this after the next 2 days because he'll talk about it today, so we'll discuss it tomorrow, and then we can go on. I think it's a lot of money. I think it's above market value, but it also proves that the whole time that they did want to get it done, because if they were still wavering, they would have tagged him and moved on with their life.
It's a lot of money, but you get a big chunk of it out of the way early. And then so it's not as big a weight on your salary cap at the end. So I think ultimately it's good business for the Dallas Cowboys.
They structured it nice.
All right, you put a lot of money up front, and they've done that with contracts. They've done that with Amari Cooper so far. They're doing it with Dak Prescott. So while, the value is high on these contracts in 3-4 years, this is pretty much a 6-year deal that defaults to 4 with the wording in the contract. They've done some good business. Yeah, you suck it up. You give a big chunk of guaranteed money early to make the player happy, but then it should allow you a little bit more flexibility if, one worst case scenario, it's not working out in 3 or 4 years. You have a more movable contract at the quarterback position. And ultimately, now the pressure is on, as it has been for Dak Prescott, whether he's franchise tagged or got the long-term deal, because this team, you look at it in the NFC East as it sits right now. You say, all right, if Washington figures it out at quarterback, they should be the best team, but they haven't figured it out just yet. And Dallas, offensively, you've invested that much in Dak Prescott. We've talked him up to this point in time. That should still be something that wins that division. And this team needs to make the playoffs this season, even with the question marks, because now Dak Prescott is done. Address the offensive line, draft, that's what it's there for, and see what he can do.
Well, you tend to go, when you pick teams, right, you tend to, not always, you tend to pick the team who's got the best quarterback to win a division, right? I mean, that's typically where it starts. You look at the NFC South, they got Tommy, all right, I'm going there. You now look at, Seattle was always the team because, they had Russell Wilson, right? Do you go there? They've got the best quarterback in the division right now, don't they? He's better than Daniel Jones. He's better than whatever Washington's throwing out there.
Yes.
I mean, right? He's better than Jalen Hurts by far. I mean, they paid him by far the most, so that should be it. They still have those 3 terrific wide receivers. They still have their high-paid running back. They should, assuming he is healthy and can come back and perform at the level that they're paying him to perform at. They're not paying him to be a guy coming off injury, off a snapped leg. They're paying him to be Patrick Mahomes. I mean, right? They're paying him to be one small notch below Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's just, overall though, still, it's not a bad deal. 160 for a franchise quarterback is everything that we've laid out and discussed ad nauseum in this quarterback market. But it's right there. It's this team, while might not be as complete as others, but you have an offense they can go out there and win the division. And
All right, I want your
it's the Washington football team and Dallas Cowboys right now in that division.
Sorry about that. I apologize. I would love your thoughts. I've got some already coming in on Dak, and I'll get them to you. What do you think now, Cowboy fan? You satisfied? Some of you are not. Some of you are like, how do we spend all this money? To JJ's point, they structured it really well. You get a $22.2 million cap hit this year as opposed to the $37.7 you were about to take if you franchise tagged him. So you save $15.5 million in cap space by getting this done this year. Yeah, you give him a lot of money. Look, it's not your money. What do you care? I mean, honestly, what you care about is how much cap space is there, how much can we afford to go out and buy and get other players, right? That's why any fan would give a damn about money, right? How much can we? It's not your money. It's Jerry Jones's money. Now it's Dak's money. But what do you care? So in that case, I think you should be pretty happy about it, right?
I think so. You get it done. You're locked in, and there's got to be some wording in there as well. If he doesn't come back, something happens in the ankle, so there's got to be some type of insurance on that guaranteed money. I'm sure we'll find more about that over the coming days, but ultimately there's a belief that he's on the right path, that he's doing good, that he will be back in camp and the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys next year coming off that ankle injury.
$126 million guaranteed. It's a lot of money. 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Hey, when you think about security for your home, I know it's like insurance, right? It's one of those things you hope you never need, and you don't want to pay for it, and then you need it and you don't have it, and it's too late. Don't wait too late. Don't wait until you are a victim to reach out and call IPS. International Protective Services protected my home for many years. Yesterday, they were out front again. It's funny. Somebody came by to drop something off. They said, that IPS car is sitting right out in front. I'm like, yeah, they do that, right? They're there every single day. They protect my home. If I go out of town, they do exterior checks. They pick up the mail. They roll the garbage cans to the curb and back on garbage day. They give the home a lived-in look. Look, I know some of you signed up for other companies, and it was a local company with armed response, and now you've been selected. You're on the brink of another merger with a national company, and that's not what you signed up for. Listen, IPS is invested in Albuquerque. They're committed to your home and your business security with highly trained armed guards and 24-hour patrols. I trust IPS. I know you can. That's why you see their vehicles all around this town. More and more people are trusting IPS with their home security. Give them a call, 505-897-2420. That's their number, 505-897-2420. You can look at them online at ipsglobal.com.
Let's get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass. Hill's gonna just shoot it.
He's gonna go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Oh!
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Jefferson wide open.
Omar's not happy about it. Omar's a big Cowboy fan. Figure Cowboy fan would be happy. But Omar says Dallas Cowboys equals Ramit. Omar is sick this morning, Jeffy, he says. Within 2 years, the OD will be discussing how Coach Jones gets the NFL's most stable franchise out from under a debilitating quarterback contract. Just like we spent all 2020 saying Ramit was Goffle. Omar is immediately reopening his recruitment. So he thinks that they're going to get buried in it. First of all, he doesn't think Dak's that good, obviously, so he's not worth the money that was spent on him. JJ, I think the way I understand this is so much of this money is spread out that they shouldn't get buried under this, and they kind of protected themselves, right?
Yeah, you get a big chunk of that out of the way early with the guarantees, the signing bonuses, and then it's not as heavy on the back end. So ultimately, is Dak Prescott good, yes or no? All right, answer that question. Is he making a lot of money? Yes. But also show me, in all this discussion, show me the team that's winning with the $1 million quarterback. Like, if that was the case, Andy Dalton was sitting right there. Why isn't every other NFL team just going out there and trying to sign Andy Dalton and then spending all this other money to make a mega roster? Why is that happening? Because we've sure as heck have had that conversation like the last month. Like, oh, cheap quarterback and you're going to win a Super Bowl. Show me where that's happening. Show me, has that happened the last 10 years? You had 2 quarterbacks on rookie contract win it. Okay, but their price is going to go up. So you say we're not paying these guys because they're not a rookie anymore? Like, show me where it's working.
And I guess the question is, what does it mean to pay him? I mean, it's one thing to pay him, and it's one thing to just reset the market, right?
He didn't reset the market.
I don't think they reset the market. Yeah, the market's, well, yeah, I just don't think.
He got a lot of guaranteed money, but the overall contract's not this, oh my gosh, we've never seen that in football before.
Right, and that's where you're right. Because to your point, New England tried it. How'd that work? They tried it with a backup quarterback in Dalton. How'd that work? How'd it work with Teddy Bridgewater on a relatively cheap quarterback? It didn't. The teams that made the playoff, Buffalo Bills, they got a franchise quarterback who is about to get paid, right?
And he'll be still getting a contract in a year or two.
He's still on his rookie quarterback. Baltimore Ravens have a quarterback who has been paid. The Cleveland Browns, did they exercise his 5th year on Baker Mayfield? But he's going to get paid. I mean, is he going to get paid more than Dak now? Is Baker Mayfield more than Dak?
Like, that is the legitimate debate, because Baker Mayfield, you have a playoff quarterback in that regard, but that's also yep. But it's, if that's the case, then you'd be moving on, right? Oh, if it just takes a quarterback and a rookie contract, well, then you draft these guys out in 4 to 5 years and draft another one. It ain't that simple.
I think and I have no idea what they're paying Tannehill. I can find that. But I would tell you, I think the lowest paid quarterback was Tannehill, who, by the way, at one point got paid.
So Ryan Tannehill
aside from
year,
Washington,
last year Made $22 million.
All right, so there you go. I mean, there's the point. And this year, it's going to be $22.2 million cap hit for Dak. So, again, I don't think this cripples you. You got your quarterback done. Go on and move. Now go put your roster together. Go find some linemen and some defensive pieces. And honestly, Omar, this is a good thing for you. This is a good thing. Dak gets paid. It's not your money. He gets money up front. 126 guaranteed, $66 million in the signing bonus. I mean, it is mind-boggling money. Sure. I mean, it's a hell. As soon as he signs that paper, here's $66 million. Can you imagine that? Here's your signing bonus, bro. $66 million. Go buy yourself a new car. Go buy whatever you want, right? But it doesn't hurt you, and you have stability at that position. Finally, and we can stop talking about this, and you can start building your team. And
that's what the front office is there for. You have scouts, you have general managers, you have coaches' input. Is to build a roster, and we get so caught up in quarterback salaries, like that's the end-all, be-all in this, and it's not. You can find a good player in the second round. You can find a good player in the third round that sticks around a few years on a rookie contract. And by the way, free agency isn't necessarily always signing the best free agent class for $100 million, because that's not really how it works in the NFL. So I just get so frustrated with this quarterback conversation sometimes. Like, all right, show me the cheap discount quarterback that is winning all these games. And you can't, because the league is dominated by good quarterbacks, but also teams that know how to build around a good quarterback. And now that's the question. You got your franchise quarterback. That's out of the way. Can they put pieces in the needed areas for this team to live up to the hype of Dak Prescott as their franchise quarterback?
It reminds me of the conversation, we pay too much for a coach. We should get a high school coach for $150,000 and we'll be fine. I mean, it does. Yeah. It kind of reminds me, where's that being done? Nowhere. And typically when you have these conversations, you say, show me one, and then there's one. All right, there's one, right? There isn't one. If Cam Newton would have won this year, that would have been your one. And then, by the way, he would have gotten paid, right? If he would have won in New England this year, he'd have gotten paid. He didn't, and so he didn't, and so he's not. You're not wrong. You're not wrong on this. This is all right. Let me give you one other tentacle of this story. Russell Wilson had 4 teams on his list. That was one of those teams on his list. So that's off. I don't know that New Orleans is going to happen. It was there, New Orleans, Chicago, and what was the 4th? Somewhere else who didn't have anything. Vegas. Yeah, I guess Vegas would still be on the table. The Bears evidently are going hard. I just don't know what the Bears have to give.
Picks, and you maybe give up if there's a young player that they like from your defense.
It might be Khalil Mack.
Or Roquan Smith, something like that, potentially, because that's the franchise changer right there, because you have an established team, and there's a great conversation, right? The Bears are a good football team.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a quarterback, and what happens when you don't have a quarterback with a good football team? You become an average football team, which is why if you're Chicago, you're Matt Nagy, you're their GM, Ryan Pace. You're saying, all right, I'll send you 3 first-round picks. They're not going to be great first-round picks, but you want them and some other draft capital? Okay, we have Russell Wilson, a defense that is playing at a level that we know can probably win the NFC. Why the heck not? Save your job.
Yeah.
Win some games.
I think it would be Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith. It would be something along with those picks, because then they don't have a quarterback. Now, they might go try to get Sam Darnold. They may try to go do something, along those lines. Then what would I'm sure they've thought one step ahead. What are they going to do if? But that's off the table. So it's interesting. All right, Joe Franklin's going to be with us at 8 o'clock. We're going to talk to the dynastic UNM cross-country track and field coach. 8:30 this morning, Chris Jans is going to be with us. He's New Mexico State's men's basketball coach.
If you want to feel like a franchise player yourself, let me introduce you to F45 Training. F45 Training is a mix of circuit and high-intensity training in a class atmosphere, and the 45 stands for 45 minutes. No wasted time. It's going to fit in nicely to your schedule, and it's going to be one of the best workouts that you have ever had. There's different classes every day. Check them out at f45training.com or download the F45 app so you can get a schedule of the classes, book your classes, and also sign up for your 7-day free trial, because once you're in, you're going to like the results and feel of taking these classes. They're located at 5920 Holly Northeast. Good access from Paseo and I-25. Certified trainers there in every class to help you along the way. So this is for all fitness levels. You can go in, and it might sound overwhelming at first. Circuit training, high-intensity training. No, you can work your way up. They have all the stations set out. That's what I love about it. Monitors on the wall that let you know, hey, this is what exercise you're at. This is what you're going to next. It's spaced out. You do wear your mask, and that is why you have to book your class, so they're still managing class sizes, so you can feel comfortable and just focus on the workout that you're about to get. F45training.com. Download the F45 app. Check it out. I love it. I look forward to it. And by the way, classes 7 days a week. Saturday and Sunday mornings, actually great if you miss your workout during the week to catch up and get yourself back on track. Team training, life-changing. I'll see you at F45 Training.
Staples helps you get back to business with custom printed signs and
into Watson with the jam.
Far the ball again. Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham. Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a three for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, so he needed to get his legs back under him. Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this. They're going to go score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Agbaiosi. Saved into the hands of Riak. Ahead of the pack. Davina Lovato. Up high. Down hard for Agbaiosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Ramos wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Got into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie, saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff, Watson.
Stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown.
Also yesterday on the day, Greg McDermott came back as coach of the Creighton men's basketball team after his one-game suspension for twice using the word plantation in his I don't know, pep speech and now motivation. I don't know what the hell he was doing. Les Miles is out at Kansas. The Mad Hatter had allegations come up this week from his time at LSU. So this really has nothing to do with anything he did at Kansas, I don't think. But inappropriate contact with female students while he was at LSU. Allegations came out this week, and 3 days later, the Mad Hatter's out in Kansas looking for head coach.
Well, not even just allegations, things that were investigated.
Yeah.
Recommendations of actions that LSU said should have been taken back in the day. And it was just kind of like, hey, we're going to push this over here and not really worry about it. And then, boom, it comes out, all the information about Les Miles, what he did, what LSU didn't do in this case. Now Kansas is sitting there going, oof.
We need a coach.
This is what we have to deal with?
Danny Gonzalez available? Yeah. No. I'm kidding, kind of, somewhat kidding, kind of. All right, 2460610. Edward, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, sir.
You know, you threw some positive, you spoke it into existence, Jeff, yesterday. You threw some positive energy into the ethos by your phrase, yakety yak, don't cut Dak. And hence, a few hours later, a contract's on the board and has been delivered and signed, and it's good. It's done. By the way, this whole thing with Les Miles and other coaches, people think they have freedom of speech and can say and do what they want. But there's consequences, my friends. And you just can't go half-cocked and say and do whatever you want, even from years gone by. And it's just an interesting time we live in because everything's documented and people have deep memories now. Very interesting. the Dak Prescott contract.
People always
and
hold on. People always had deep memories. Now they have cell phones and recording devices and security cameras everywhere. So
wait till you see what's happening. I've seen the technology first and foremost, and everything's going to be documented. Even our every conversation you have one-on-one will be documented, probably in the next 10 to 15 years.
Big brother.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I think there's danger in speaking and thinking in absolutes, and I think JJ brings good credence here when he says it's not all one way or the other. When you mentioned Omar, and I love Omar, he's consistent. I love the guy. It's not his money. You're right. It's his team, though. And I think that there's a responsibility as, you know, from an organization. You know, you don't make decisions for your fans, but you want to put your team in the best position to win. And maybe signing Dak to this contract, because they did structure it advantageously against the cap for them to succeed, and it's not as punitive. I think the Cowboys have been sequestered into signing Dak. And I'm going to reiterate the point that Colin Cowherd made. They continue to pay good talent great money. Dak's not great. Dak's good. You know, he's in the top 10, maybe, possibly, maybe around 12, best in the league, and that's good. But they just paid him number 2 in the league for quarterback, gave him the highest signing bonus ever. So they're paying him great money. Mm-hmm. Vegas this morning released odds after the signing, and Vegas doesn't miss. We all know that with our 5-star picks during the year. They have the 13th best odds to win the Super Bowl, the Cowboys. 13th best after the signing, right? And that may change after free agency. But I think that organization was kind of cornered in because Dak is good enough to be a franchise quarterback, but he's not transcendent. And I'm not saying you need to absolutely have a transcendent talent to win the Super Bowl, but they don't have a transcendent talent. They don't have transcendent talent on their team, right? I mean, they have some good players, but the Washington Redskins defensive lineman, that's a transcendent talent. Rob Gronkowski, transcendent talent, right? And Mahomes, transcendent talent. And that doesn't always equate to championships. But the way they spend
that's
their
what
money,
gets paid. Transcendent talent gets paid.
Exactly. So if I was in Vegas, you know, with my 7-star, they're now 7-star picks, and you know why they're 7-star picks now?
Because they're not that good.
If I would put an over/under on playoff victories for the Dallas Cowboys over the next 4 years cumulatively, I would put it at 2.
1.5.
1.5, and I would bet the under. And the reason why, because I think that in their division they might, you know, they could win the division, or maybe squeak in as a wild card and maybe win a wild card game, which really encapsulates Tony Romo's career. I think he won 2 wild card playoff games in 10 years. And so we're going to be here in 4 years, and I think we're going to be more inclined to say, are the Cowboys going to move off their coach, and Dak's 4-year run will end, and that's where we're going to be. And
I think we're more inclined. All right, so let me ask you this: who will be there longer, Dak or the coach, Mike McCarthy?
Dak.
I agree.
I think Dak they'll let this contract play out.
After this, but after what they just paid him, they got to keep him.
Yeah, they're committed now. You know the difference between the pig and the chicken and a ham and eggs breakfast? The chicken was involved, but the pig was committed. Cowboys are committed now, right? Because they paid that money. I would say at the end of next year, not this year, but next year, there'll be conversations about getting rid of McCarthy, and then you're in a full rebuild. I think they're in a full rebuild right now. But
they just never want to admit it. They've been in a full. Yeah. All right, man. Thank you for the call. Thank you, JJ. Yeah. I think they've been in a rebuild for a while. That's a franchise that will never admit they're in a rebuild, right? Now, you sit there and say, Jeff, how are they in a rebuild? They've got the second highest paid quarterback, the highest paid running back, and those 3 receivers. How the hell are they in a rebuild? Not very good.
It's always an interesting question, quarterback's salary and how do you build a team. It sounds like this is more a Cowboys issue than Dak, but people are trying to look at Dak and say, well, he's going to be the reason they can't be good because he's making money.
Now, you want to talk about winners when we get back? 13 straight championships. There's a national championship or 2 sprinkled in there as well. Joe Franklin's the cross-country coach over at the University of New Mexico. He's with us next after another championship. It's the opening drive. J-Pole's producing on the TV side. Bobcat's in for Micah, who, by the way, popped up on my video screen a few minutes ago. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Ramos wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer for Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Calion stripped him. Compiling the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side. Provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski.
For 5 years running, this is the opening drive with two-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and J.J. Bach.
5 years a nice streak. How about 13? It's even better. Boy, today got something special, and they've had it, and I think you know about it going on over there at the University of New Mexico in track and field and cross country. And last week, yesterday was International Women's Day, right? And so many good things are happening, especially for women's athletics at University of New Mexico. You know, the women's basketball team won a conference championship the other day. They're playing in the conference semifinal today. JJ will have the call here on the Sports Animal, 3:30 pregame. 4 o'clock tip against Fresno State. He'll be with Nikki Heckroth-Lobato. Also, last week, the UNM women's cross-country team won their 13th straight conference championship. They have won national championships as a team in 2015 and 2017 and 2019. Or they finished second in 2018. So 2015 and 17, they win the championship. Finished second overall in the NCAAs in 2018. 2019, the most recent one. Wayne Kaladi won the national championship as an individual. Their head coach is in his 14th year at the University of New Mexico and is having just an unbelievable run. Joe Franklin joins us on the opening drive. Joe, just wanted to bring you in and congratulate you on the continued success. How you living?
I'm fine, doing great. Got no complaints. It's a little cloudy here in Albuquerque, which is strange today, and so we're just getting ready to go to Stillwater, where it's going to rain for 3 days.
Yeah, you guys are waiting for the NCAAs. When you're who you are and you're ranked second, third, whatever is in the country, and win conference championships, what selections like for you? The selection show for cross country is this week. What is that for you and your ladies?
It was, we knew after our race 3 weeks ago in Vegas that we would get selected, so we weren't overly concerned at all. We just went, and then we had to go into the conference championship, and our conference, there's only 31 teams that get selected to the national championship, and our conference on the women's side has 3. So it's a very difficult conference with Boise and Colorado State in there and Air Force. So for us to go in the conference meet and have not an easy run, that's not, but a controlled effort in preparation for this next Monday national championship is very positive.
Yeah, Joe, when you've won 13 straight conference championships, you've won 2 national championships in the last 6 years. That's dynastic. What you've got here is it is. I mean, I don't look the word up. I was going to, but I thought I knew the definition. How have you figured this out here? What have you done? And I know that's too simple of a question, but the ladies that we've had on just brag about you and what you've done. How have you put this thing together and got it to this level?
Well, first of all, we have an incredible support staff with Janice and her staff, and Ed and the facility staff, and Eddie Nunez is the AD. Because with us, it takes the intangibles are what makes us successful. It's not the tangibles. It's the emotional support, the ability to get to people to talk to. We have the best facility in the world, being the outside in Albuquerque. So we're surrounded by a bunch of, this support group is so special, and including Bob Waller and his staff. And then we go to the kids that are all the women are just driven. They want to be very good, not only on the track, but in the classroom, and it's every day. They literally wake up and think, how do I get a little better each day?
Joe, what was the last year like for your student athletes? We've seen the challenges across the board and these other teams not having a place to practice, not knowing, hey, where are we going to go, where are we going to play? But for your athletes, staying healthy, staying engaged, how was it for them?
It was tough, especially in the fall when they saw their friends at Power 5 conferences competing throughout the country. It was they're so driven in Type A. They want to know what the goal is. And in the fall, we didn't know what the goal would be, because we didn't know if the NCAA would happen, 2, if we would be allowed to leave the state, and let alone compete. So for them to stay driven on a goal that's not really out there just shows the type of women that they are. Having said that, it was probably a bit of a blessing that we didn't compete, because we had a year training block. Since March of 13th of last year, we haven't been able to compete. So instead of sitting around and playing video games and watching TV, they trained and worked hard.
Joe Franklin is the UNM track and field and cross country coach. He's with us on the opening drive this morning.
Hey, Joe, and with that, what was it like, trying to keep things organized when, hey, you can't be together, you can't be out, but it's got to be a lot of individual work. So what was your role kind of through that process that led you to the point of returning to competition?
Well, with Laura and Jimmy they're the associate head coach and assistant coach. We just talk a lot to the kids via text or phone. Luckily, there's enough apps out there where we can monitor what they do via Strava or Garmin, and really I would actually say our dialogue has probably increased with the pandemic as opposed to decreased, just because we felt like we need to engage. We did not do a lot of Zoom calls or anything like that. I think we had 2 the entire year. The kids are getting enough Zoom video conferences for the rest of their lives. So we tried to keep it low key, and that's kind of our approach as well. Just keep it low key and have fun, and surround yourself with the best people you can. But it was challenging, but the apps made it easier for us.
Joe, talk about what you guys went through, because this typically we're having cross-country conversations in October. You guys it's a fall sport, and because of everything that's gone on. So the uncertainty in keeping it together, we've heard the men and the women's basketball teams talk about what they've gone through. I'm looking at what you were able to do. You only had, if I'm not mistaken, 2 meets, right? You had one in Vegas, well, 2 in Vegas. You won them both. I don't think I see anything else on your result page.
There's not.
So what has this season been? Just trying to keep it together and keeping shooting, because you're such a goal-oriented sport, and Joe, the goalpost kept continuously moving.
It did, and you make an interesting comment there. Sport in general is you have to compete. You need to have these games every day, these practices every day. What we learned throughout this is we don't have to compete every day. Even though we've only had 2 competitions, if you have faith and data to show that you're fit, as long as we don't have get too stressed out, miss the free throw at the last second when you're a 90% free throw shooter, as long as we keep level-headed and even keel, the fitness of the women is so good they're not afraid to go out and race without races, which is contradictory to the thought process which has been the last 27 years of my coaching career. So it's allowed us to evolve and change a little bit, even from the fact where we don't necessarily meet every day either. Right now we are literally meeting twice a week. We're the only school in the country that's doing that, but we've found a groove that works for us.
Well, let me ask you this, Joe, because it changed your mindset. I'm going to guess that the athlete's mindset had changed. And I'm going to reference my daughter's a freshman that runs cross country at the academy, and she's been training since last June. And when the season got called off, we had this. She was in great shape, and she's like, "Dad, why are we even doing this?" And I said, "Well, you're doing it because you're fit, you're in shape. But did you have to change the student athlete's mindset because they're training? What are they training for, Joe?"
We did, but throughout our sport, throughout the world, we had these almost like little pop-up meets that just organically appeared where people knew in 2 weeks they needed to be ready to go, and then you have people setting world records and world bests. But they were so fit and prepared, hunger's not the right word, because you get too hungry in our sport and you're just going to go out too hard and die. But it was this internal drive. So with the kids going into this, it's just keeping them not knowing what the goal is okay, but we saw data that people could be, as long as you're fit and healthy and rested, as long as you're ready, you can go and be successful. And that's what the women and we had a male qualify as well. They did all throughout this time. And it just shows that you don't.
It's interesting.
The box that we used to think of as college sport is slowly changing. And for us, it's changed dramatically for the better.
Joe, who are the names that people need to know? Who should they be listening for, looking out for with what's ahead?
Ozva Cohen is very good. She has a chance to place in the top 10, as well as Amelia Mazza Downey. The kind of goal of our team is to have a very low spread. In our first meet, we had a 17-second spread from 1 to 5. The second meet was maybe 30 seconds. If we can be in the 20-second spread, that's the time gap from your first runner to your fifth runner, we'll have a very successful time at the NCAAs. So Ozva Cohen, Amelia Mazza Downey, Gracelyn Larkin, Andrea Egelstadt, Anna Maria Costarellis. Those are the primary top 5. Obviously, anything can happen on a given day, but it's just a great group. It's very similar to the 2015 group from a data standpoint.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, you told me something once, and I'd like you to share this with JJ and our audience. You told me one time that you felt that the most exciting thing in sports is the home stretch or coming down the stretch at a cross-country meet. And I looked at you. I remember where we were when you told me this. And as you explained it to me, I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. Explain to JJ, and because I can't explain this like you can, why you think that. And I think some people are going to go, yeah, no, I kind of get that.
Well, when you get to the super elite level of cross-country and distance running, especially cross-country, not only is it the last part of the race, but that 20 minutes is just every other sport you have a lull. You have a timeout, a TV timeout, a substitution on the soccer pitch, something like that where things just slow just a little bit. In cross-country at the national championship, it's 19 minutes of frenzy. And then the last 2 minutes you won't have it this year, but usually you have, 8 to 10,000 people the last 400 meters, and it's 6 deep, and people are going crazy, screaming. It is the most electric environment you can imagine. It would be similar to the last second shot in basketball and that frenzy going on for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They hit that shot, it goes crazy for 4 minutes, it dies down, they storm the court, it erodes. But in this, it's constant, and it's truly nerve-wracking. I actually wear headphones during the race because I get so stressed out.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, Joe.
And hey, one thing I want to say, it's live on ESPNU on Monday.
The
cross-country national championships, live on ESPNU Monday
from
morning.
Stillwater.
Not sure what time. I'll find out and text it to you.
Yeah, and I'll let people know, and it's in Stillwater. There's been 3 national championships, team sports, at the University of New Mexico. 2 of them, you have been the coach, and I know that's something you're proud of. Go get a 3rd. Best of luck to you, continued success, and congratulations on everything. Joe, be well. I appreciate you spending some time with us, and hopefully next week we're talking about another Blue Trophy and national championship.
All right. Take care, guys.
Take care, Joe. Joe Franklin, one of the good guys, man. One of the good ones. Yeah, he told me that once, JJ. We're coming out of actually those football luncheons, and I'm like, what do you mean? And the passion with which he told that story, like, yeah, no, I can get it. I kind of want to experience that at some point. And I've done it at the high school level, and I hear
it from someone, like you said, that can present it. Well, this is why, and also, that's what I love. Talking to coaches and getting different perspectives. Is we've heard so many different approaches which have worked for different teams over the last year, staying together. And Joe really felt for his student athletes. He's like, you know what, we need maybe to take a step back and not be overwhelming as involved. And I think that is the aspect of where you have a team sport, but it's so much more about the individual. So where you can get away with a style like that as opposed to just this team atmosphere where they're talking football and basketball and we got to be together, we got to practice, we got to get the execution. And he read the room, saw what was needed, and it looks like it turned out pretty good because they're at this point once again racing for a potential national championship.
Yeah, is it fair that I use the word dynastic? I mean, that's How else do you define it? 13 in a row? It's dynastic. It's the opening drive. Glad you're with us on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
And you're clear.
Staples has the technology, furniture, and supplies you need, all at low prices. This week, earn 25% back.
Two receivers at the top. Harris has all day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wild catch! Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine!
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
So they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the 3, and he buries it.
They'll be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition, ahead to hit on for the 2-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a 3 that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
12:30 next Monday. You can watch it on your ESPN app or on ESPN Plus. That'll be the national championships with Stillwater. And I don't know, JJ, when the school as a whole has won 3 national championships and you've been the head coach for 2 of them, I think you're doing pretty well, huh? That's something to be proud of in that program, and 13 championships in a row. Of everything that was said there were 2 things. He said, we have the best facility in the world, the outdoors in Albuquerque. So he had the best facility in the world to recruit. And then he said the whole thing about we realize we don't need to be in competition. Like we're competing, but we're not in competitions. And honestly, that's the first person I've heard say that. It's a perspective that probably helped survival during this last calendar year, and it probably got them better.
Yeah, it's one that it's fascinating, but it's what a coach has to do. It's read the room. All right, how is my team going to react to things? How does each individual handle it? Because while, they're racing as the University of New Mexico, it's each athlete doing their own thing, which I think it's easier to manage than maybe something that we saw happen with football or what's gone on with basketball. But I think it also is just the style of coach he is, so it wasn't like a dramatic 180 change from probably the culture that he's established with all the student athletes that he recruits, how he and his staff interact with them, and it's what got them through last year. And it's and Jeff, you've seen it with your daughter. It's you get out and run, handle things differently, focus, but still having those goals is something you need. And I still think it's probably the biggest challenge is when you're back. Just think like last summer going into fall when it really was the unknown of what the heck is going to happen. So what is going to help just keep that fire going enough?
Well, the whole what are we doing this for, right? And his mindset and the way he's got his student athletes is right. What are we doing it for? And now here they are, and they've got an opportunity on Monday to achieve a goal, and they won another league championship. And there's a lot to be said about what he does and how he does it. And I'm a big fan of him and who he is as a person and what he's built there. And you talk about successful programs, and JJ, we always talk about what Glenn Milliken's done with golf, but at the level that Joe has done. What he's done with cross country, track and field at UNM, especially distance running, it's unprecedented. I think of the history of that university in athletics, and it's terrific. You can tell me all the Bob King stories you want, but what's going on right now with that program? I get it. It's not a marquee program, and it's not a money making program, and so I understand it. But if you're competing for championships and you're putting, they got to get a new trophy case. Like at some point, you got 13 conference trophies and 2 national championships and. At some point, you're out of room, aren't you?
Yeah, you need a little extra space to fit all that in.
Yeah, so. All right, 246-0610, 888-922-0610. Your emails are coming in, Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com and JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. Omar says he can't disagree with you more. He says, when you're the NFL's most stable franchise, are they the NFL's most stable franchise?
They're not the most stable franchise.
They are.
They're your favorite team, Omar, but they're not the most stable franchise.
Who's the most stable franchise in the NFL?
Most stable franchise in the NFL.
If it's not them, and I don't think it is, who is?
Business-wise, I think business versus performance is 2 different things in this case.
They're probably the most financially stable. Yeah, they're probably the most financially stable. Maybe that's where he's going. But as far as the most stable, it was New England for 2 decades. Now they're not that now. I don't know that there is a most stable. I mean, who is it? Is it Kansas City? Oh, look what they got. The highest paid quarterback. I don't know if Tampa Bay's that stable. They won 1 Super Bowl, and they got a quarterback for another year. I don't know how stable that is.
Sometimes it's all you need is 1 year.
Yeah, but he says when you're the NFL's most stable franchise, why can't you go find the next Patrick Mahomes in the draft? Just because we got burned with Jim Villanucci doesn't mean the next freshman won't be a home run. What was Ben DiNucci? You didn't get burned
that's
with
my
Ben
point.
DiNucci.
If it was that simple as, you just need a good rookie quarterback and then you spend money everywhere else, why are they signing these guys to extensions after their rookie contract? Why are they just not throwing them to the scrap heap after 4 or 5 years?
All right, first of all.
Because it's not that simple.
The next Patrick Mahomes, now, if there is one there, you can go find him. It's not like you got to be at the top of the draft, right? Kansas City traded up to grab him, I want to say 10th in the draft, right? And then sat him a year. The next guy behind him that I would be comparable to Patrick Mahomes in a draft would be Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. You got another guy that wasn't in the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks on Mel Kiper's scream list going into the draft. Do you have one? I don't. Let's get out of this on time, and we'll get back into this more. Chris Jans is coming up next, New Mexico State basketball coach. We'll talk to him when we come back. But first, JJ has got something to tell you.
Well, we were just talking about cross-country and running and the cardio that's involved. Maybe that's not for everyone. I know myself, just straight cardio can be difficult. So let me introduce you to F45 training. F45 functional training is a mix of circuit and high-intensity training in a class atmosphere. So you're doing everything. You got body weight exercise. We got abs. We got kettlebells. We got chest press, etc. You name it, F45 training. Their workout routine is going to be awesome because it's a different class every single day. Check them out at f45training.com. Download the F45 app to sign up for your 7-day free trial so you can see what it's like. But also it helps them manage class sizes. You have to book your class time so they have it spaced out. They limit the number of people in the gym. So you're going to be comfortable, you're going to feel good, and you're going to be able to focus on your workout. They're located at 5920 Holly Northeast, so it's really good access from Paseo and I-25 from wherever you are in town. Certified trainers are there in class to help you along the way. And again, it's for all fitness levels. I spent the last year not great with my fitness, and I was a little nervous about everything going back to the gym. But you go in there, you're excited, the atmosphere is really good, it pushes you, and you continue to grow class by class. 7 days a week, they have classes. I love it. It helps me catch up if I have a busy week. Go Saturday and Sunday morning. And once again, download the app, check them out, sign up for your 7-day free trial, F45training.com. Team training, life-changing. I'll see you at F45 Training.
And you're clear. Thank you very much, folks. I'll be calling Chris here in just a
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District mashup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win. And he got it! And it's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did. Oh my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. There goes. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes a...
Ramos. Nice jump stop through the...
Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's that.
Hill, little step, high window.
Got the second.
To the middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from...
Lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. 2 to shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's the long three.
Boom.
Bang.
Men's basketball will open up the conference tournament on Wednesday. That'll be tomorrow. They will play against Fresno State in the 6-11 game. Ladies will also play Fresno State, but that'll be today. That's 4 o'clock our time in the conference semifinal.
6
o'clock? Why do I see 4? All right, so 6 o'clock. 5:30 pregame. All right, I'm all jacked up then. All right, glad you changed that. 5:30 and 6. 5:30 pregame show, 6 o'clock. Semifinal, JJ and Nikki will have the call. Aggies open up. It's the late game, 9 o'clock at night, our time, on Thursday from the Orleans Arena. They will open up against the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley in the WAC tournament, which is something that they have had a lot of success in of late. Aggies have won 3 in a row. They have won 5 of their last 6, and they have won 6 of their last 8. Feel like they're coming off of 2 straight at Dixie State. They beat UTRGV before that, and then split with Tarleton. We're efforting Chris Jans. I'd like to know where he thinks his team is right now. Do you feel like they're peaking like that? Because my thing with Chris is, does he feel like they finally got in a groove? I know early in the year, it was the inconsistency. It wasn't even just the uncertainty of not knowing where it is we're going to live/play. It was the COVID-related delays. They had games against Arizona, and I want to say it was UC Riverside and Santa Clara, a bunch of games that were just COVIDed out because of positive tests. And so I think now that they've gotten in somewhat of a groove and been playing, does he feel that they're a little bit more in a vibe?
Yeah, New Mexico State's journey is right up there with the hardest in the country. And we're talking about the road that the men and women at New Mexico State, New Mexico, when it comes to basketball, have had to be on. Their lengthy pause of being away from basketball as long as they were. And now we'll see how they're feeling this week.
All right, the head coach of New Mexico State, Chris Jans, is with us this morning. Good morning, Chris. How you doing?
Hi, guys. I guess if we get to play that golf match we've talked about forever, you're not going to give me any strokes for being a couple minutes late now, are you?
I'll give you one extra, actually. Actually, I was down your way and played last week, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Hey, we were just having a conversation about, do you feel that now that you've won 3 in a row, 5 out of 6, is just the routine with all the, not just uncertainty of where you're going to live, where you're going to play early in the year, but the fact that you just didn't play because so many games were canceled. Do you feel like your team's now maybe, I don't know if peaking is the right word, but certainly playing better because they're getting in some sort of a routine now?
Well, even more importantly, I'm happy for them. We certainly have a lot of expectations for our program each and every season, and historically, New Mexico State basketball is, had some great seasons and known for winning. Certainly not every season's been awesome, but I'm just happy that we're winning games. It just makes everybody feel better. We've been through a lot, and to have that winning feeling in the locker room post-game, to have it, walking into practice the next day, I just happy for them. I'm happy for everybody involved in the program, and it certainly helps, with your mindset and with your preparation, and to motivate you, to continue to practice well and try to get better, going down the stretch. And obviously I've been doing this long enough to know, I've been on teams that didn't play great the last week of the season or didn't win the conference tournament, but went on to win games and make runs in the NCAA tournament. And but at the same time, I think every coach in America would tell you they'd rather, be playing well and winning games heading into their respective conference tournaments, just for that feel-good feeling for everybody. But when the ball is tipped, nobody's going to care how many games you've won recently or for the season. It's going to be 40-minute matches, and whoever plays best is going to win. So definitely feel like we're playing better than we have all season long. I wish we had another week or so because we are getting a lot better, especially recently. But that's what the calendar says, so it's time to get to play.
Chris, is there a specific area with your team right now that you look at and say, this is going to be the most important thing for us to be successful in Las Vegas?
Well, as simple as it sounds, we have to make shots. I mean, I think it's such a boring statement, but it's the truth. Is we've got to make shots. We've got to be able to create good shots. If I had one thing that we need to get better at right now, and it's going to be hard with only a couple more days, is just a breakdown offense in the half court and continuing to work together and understand how we need to play to be effective offensively. You want to push the ball and you want to score in transition, but this time of the year with scouting and everybody in great shape, everybody's getting back on defense pretty good, and everyone's going to try to steal some baskets that way. But in the end, to win tournament basketball, you're going to have to do some things in the half court. So, that's my biggest concern. But because of that, we've always relied on our defense and rebounding, and that's been getting a lot better, especially our defense. We've had more good possessions the last few games, percentage-wise, defensively, than we've had all year long. And you can just see it coming on video, and you can see it in practice, and it's a good feeling. And I'm not sure we're quite there yet, but we're as close as we've been all year long with this group, that's for sure, of being able to rely, on that end of the floor and in those categories to kind of pull us through when we're not shooting the ball very well.
Chris Jansen is New Mexico State's basketball coach. They open up the WAC tournament on Thursday night, 9 o'clock our time against UTRGV. Chris, you played that team, a week and a half ago now. I guess only a week ago, huh? It was last Tuesday. What do you take out of one game? You beat them 69-51. That's a team, like, you've been through a lot. They've been through a lot in another way, losing their head coach. And I know, Lou was somebody who was a friend of yours, certainly a rival of yours. But the matchup with UTRGV, can you take anything out of beating them a week ago?
Well, one of the reasons I was excited to play the game is I just can't imagine going into a conference tournament and not having to have played someone prior to meeting them in the tournament. That would have been a very odd situation. Certainly you do that, a November tournament or a Christmas tournament or a postseason NCAA, NIT, etc. But to do that in a conference tournament would have been just very odd. It's part of the equation of being familiar with one another going into the conference tournament. So I was really glad that we were able to get that game in, because that meant that at that time on paper we were going to play everybody that was going to be participating in the conference tournament. So, and it works both ways, but everybody could kind of size each other up, and tape is great, and everybody watches a ton of tape in our industry, but there's nothing like playing someone in person and sizing them up and seeing how quick they really are and how big they really are, and all that goes with that. So that was the biggest thing for me. And now that we're actually playing them again, that kind of proves what I was talking about. Is I think we're all going to be a little more familiar with each other and comfortable with the scouting reports and personnel and how we need to play. But you just never know how it's going to work out. But the first game was, to be honest with you, was really weird, just because of the obvious with Coach Hill, and they had a chair set up, and I had talked a lot about after the game when I was scouting them that he was coaching the games, and I would just catch myself watching him more than anything else. And I'm good friends with a couple other guys on their staff for many years, and we talked a lot before the game, and it's just, I'll be honest with you, it just felt different. Certainly when the ball was tipped, everyone was competitive and trying to do their best, but prior to the game, it was much different than the norm.
Yep. A couple more minutes. Chris Jansen is with us on the opening drive.
Chris, we've talked so much about just how this last year has been different for everyone, and as a head coach, you're already doing so many different things. But this season, have you been able to feel like a head coach, or are you more of a schedule manager? What has it been like for you?
I mean, it's definitely been different. It's definitely been different. I'm not ready to, look at it from a end perspective. That'd probably be a conversation after the season. But it's definitely been a surreal year for all of us. I mean, we're getting to the point where we're marking the one-year anniversary of when, I guess, the pandemic became, public and things started changing in our daily lives with the basketball tournaments being canceled and the NCAA tournament being canceled. And we're going to get to Vegas tonight, and I'm sure there'll be some memories of the emotions of what we all went through. But in terms of what this season has been like, or what this year has been like since then, it's disrupted all of our lives. Certainly it's been a weird basketball season, to say the least, with what we've gone through, and everybody has gone through a lot. But certainly we've had some more moving objects placed in our way, more than most programs. But like I said, Dan, I mean, what's going on in the world is way bigger than basketball, and we're just trying to complete a season during a pandemic. And I certainly hope we have nothing close to this ever again.
Ever.
Never experienced something like this before, but it's just been very, very odd.
Yeah, JJ said before he feels that your program's had it harder than probably anybody or almost anybody, and I. Not asking you to get into. We'll have that conversation at the end of the year. But how the student athletes handled it? You're dealing with these young men. I know when you were in Phoenix, I asked you that. How are they holding up? But now that you've gotten to this point, as tumultuous as it is for a fan or a coach, I mean, those guys are dealing with all that and trying to keep their grades up and do everything else.
I think they've shown a lot of resiliency. I think they've shown everybody who they are, how much they love this game. How much they love being a part of the program. I mean, we've had nobody opt out, and I think it would have been really easy to do that when we were stuck in the Arizona Grand and not playing games and not practicing for long stretches of time. And I'm just proud of them. I mean, I think it really shows everybody, who they are and what they're made of. And, that's probably the most important thing. But, since we've been back and it's been weeks now, and being able to sleep in our own beds and practice in the Pan Am, although obviously we've never played a game there all this season, at least, it got into somewhat of a routine. It was a different routine.
Yep.
We never played a game in the friendly confines. And, people are talking about there's only 125 fans per game for the tournament, but for us, I mean, I'm extremely excited about it for our guys, because it'll be the first time where we'll actually be able to hear someone cheer for them all year long.
Yeah,
we haven't played in games where we've had more than a handful of people cheering for the Aggies all season long, and that's really weird to hear coming out of my own mouth. But that's the way it's been. And,
yep.
I know it's not a ton on paper, but I think it's going to be a feel-good for our guys, and we're just hoping that those 125 people, sound like 5,000 people, and for some of us, I think it will. So I'm excited that that we're getting to this point in the season where we're playing for all the marbles, and
you got a chance.
Some people there cheering for these kids that have worked so long, that have been through so much to try to complete the season.
Well, Chris, hopefully you're on with us Monday. We're talking about an NCAA tournament berth again. And for all the time you spent with us, it's got to be worth a couple strokes. I won't make you give me as many strokes when we finally get together and hit the ball around down there.
Well, I've never played with you. We really not talked about our handicaps, but I can't imagine that on paper you won't have to give me some. And trust me, we're going to go by what the handicap says.
Promise.
So
I promise. Hey, safe travels to Vegas. Good luck, and we'll talk with you next week. All right, be well. Thanks, Chris.
I appreciate it.
Take care. Chris Jans on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
You could continuously cough.
Thank you.
My handicap is jumping up. He's not going to like that. It's gone from a 10.5 to like a...
Go is...
Ford drive and kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition.
But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's
going
going
to go and he puts it
away.
And Corbalan wants to put it down.
Here comes
Screeches Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan. Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. And it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay to
Yeah, I
just
got
get
you.
the measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off, great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
It's about, and we ran out of time, but I just experience in the tournament. And JJ, you and I have spent hours over the years talking about what does experience mean when it comes to the postseason. And New Mexico State has experience. Now, how many of these players do, and some of them do, certainly, but how many of these guys have experience in the postseason in that building, playing and winning? And I think there's something to that. And certainly as a coach, he's proven to be a pretty damn good coach when it gets to the postseason. He's got a perfect record at New Mexico State.
That's also why, even with the inconsistencies, the ups and downs that New Mexico State has gone through this season, you still have a high hope of what they can do in Las Vegas. Now, even if that meter has dropped a little bit in overall confidence, that's still a team you look at and go, man, they can find a way to get it done. But it goes back to shot creation, and he made a really good point. As things tighten up at this point in the season, how are you going to create good shots in the half court? And that's where they have struggled, is who's going to step up. We hear about Jabari Rice, but it's Evan Gilliard. It's your point guard. He has to be able to create shots. You got to get some of that pace and tempo in your half-court offense, and that's going to be key for New Mexico State.
Well, you asked him straight up, and he says, I don't mean to give you the boring answer. It's we got to make shots. And, it sounds so simple, and I know we oversimplify, or I don't know, sometimes we over, what's the opposite of simplify? We overcomplicate.
Overanalyze.
Yeah, we overanalyze or complicate the game. I mean, it's as simple sometimes as making shots, and you can execute all you want, but when shots don't go down, you lose. What's the object of the game is put ball in hole, right? Put ball in basket. And his team has really struggled, and that's why you're watching them get better. Now, for Aggie fan, is anything less than winning this thing going to be satisfactory in this crazy, weird year? For Aggie fan, is the only good result is winning the tournament, right?
That's their expectation.
Yeah.
It's the level that program, and since Chris Chance has come and taken over, that's what they've set. And
when you say they've had it as tough as anyone, and Lobo fans sit there and go, what about us? And they're not, they're on par. But for them to be living in that resort, well, their resort was nicer than the Holiday Inn or Residence Inn or whatever in Lubbock. Okay, you're probably right. But then they got shut down and had all those games canceled, all those non-conference games canceled. Didn't play for, while Paul was saying we need a break, Chris was saying we just need a game, right? They played the Cal State Northridge game, which they came from ahead and lost. And I think it was the one game in a month and a half, right? Like a 6-week period.
Yeah, D1 men's and women's basketball teams in this state had a very challenging year.
And you got New Mexico State with a legitimate chance to go deep in their conference tournament, and you got New Mexico women playing in the semifinal tonight as the 1 seed. I'll tell you what, kudos to Bradbury, to Jans, and I'll give Paul a lot of credit for getting through this thing. They all handled it obviously very differently and responded differently.
30.
But what Chris has done with that team, that's why I asked him about the student athletes. How'd they handle it? Because really, they're the ones. All right, we'll open it back up and reset for you. Lady Lobos, DAC, Les Miles, Aggie basketball. It's all on the table for you on the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Cleared.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught.
Evans has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris with Gates. The long bomb, 3-ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the...
And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. David Bond back. LAU. Put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
Here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
You're open, your mics are hot.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. This is the opening drive with two-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and JJ Buck.
We've been all over the place today and continue to go wherever it is you want. It's the opening drive, Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. We've talked about Dak Prescott's the magic trick that Jerry pulled off. So he's given him $75 million in year one. And somehow it only counts as $22.2 million against the cap. Help me.
Signing bonuses.
So you can give as much. So you can say, but then it's going to get to the back end, and there's only $10 million this year for you. Well, how am I?
It's cap magic. It's what you have to do to succeed in professional sports. Guys are going to make money, but that can always be the excuse. Well, this guy's making so much money, we can't be a good team. No, that's what the draft is for. That's what undrafted free agents. That's what veteran free agents are for. Do your job, and you can compete. And we got to get over this crutch that is quarterback contracts. They're going to make the most money on the team. got a good quarterback, you can still build a good football team.
Here's where I come out on this, and if this is why, if you're a Cowboy fan, you won. First and foremost, it's not your damn money; it's Jerry's money. Okay, so it does. I mean, Dak's getting paid, so what do you care? Secondly, if it's structured as they're telling me it is, where it's not going against the cap, crippling you to the point where you can't get anybody else, to Omar's point, where like the Rams were buried under Jared Goff's, well, then what do you care how much money Jerry gives him, right? It's Jerry's money. It's $22 million against the hit. I think it's 13th highest cap hit, and so it doesn't matter, right? And thirdly, you got yourself a good quarterback. I don't think you have a great quarterback. I think you have a good quarterback moving forward who can become better. And so you got everything you want. You've got your franchise quarterback who's pretty good, lined up with weapons. You've got him secured for at least 4 years, and you've got cap space. And it's Jerry's damn money, and he's got all he could ever want. You got cap space to go out and fill the holes on your defense and your offensive line. To me, it's win, 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 win. It's everything but win, win. It's just not cut down nets.
And this is a situation where I am listening to the other things, where if you say, hey, let's invest in a young quarterback, clear that cap space for at least 4 to 5 years, see what happens, then okay, I'm willing to listen to that. And that's why I think the New York Jets are in that situation where, you know what? That's where I'd seriously be considering moving Sam Darnold, getting a quarterback at number 2 with the other assets, and then you expand your window at that point in time. But in this case, you have a established, known commodity in Dak Prescott. Are there some questions about him versus winning teams? Sure. But we know Dak Prescott can play at a high level in the NFL, and that's why I think it's different in this case to where this isn't going to be a detriment. This takes some pressure off of Dallas knowing, hey, they're set. This is a franchise position. Dak is good. Now build a football team around him.
Dan, how you feeling? You're on the opening drive. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning. How are you guys today?
Good. How you living?
All right. No, Jeff, you keep saying that it's Jerry's money, not our money. Well, it is our money because the $20 beers are $25. Parking's going to go up. Hot dogs, everything's going to go up. That's all the bottom line is.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. In that respect, it's fair. Yes. Winning comes at a cost. My mom told me yesterday that Dodger tickets have gone up $20 a ticket, from $67 to $87 a ticket in whatever level after they won the World Series. I said, well, you wanted to re-sign Justin Turner. You love him so much. Somebody got to pay the bill. So yes, Dan, you're right.
Okay. Hey, on the Lady Lobos, if they lose the tournament, are they going to get in a large bid?
JJ?
I don't think they'll get an at-large bid this season, just with the way their schedule played out, only having 3 non-conference games, which were against below-average opponents.
What's their record?
They're 15-3 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, Jan, I just don't think they played enough games.
Thank you. Hey, I'm one of the city workers. We missed the birthday bash.
Oh, right on. We miss it too, Dan. But appreciate all the work you're doing out there, and hopefully we'll do it soon.
We don't call very much, but we still listen. We love you guys.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Sweet, Dan. Thanks. On the Lady Lobo, I think probably the lack of games played, like at 15-3 and 11-3 in league, and if they don't win, they don't have a win outside the league to lean on. Do they have a bad loss, right? Air Force would be considered a bad loss.
Yeah.
On their resume, I mean, I know you shake your head, and I do too, but yeah. All right, John says Dak contract attack. Although I'm glad the soap opera is over, I still think Dallas should have tagged him and see how he performs next season, especially coming off that injury, then base the contract on his performance. We don't even know how healthy Dak is after that horrific injury. Has anyone given us a progress report on his injury? Just asking. But then again, he said Jerry wouldn't have signed him if this one's not coming up. But I got to believe they did a pretty deep dive into his medicals, right? Into his recovery, into his therapist. J-Pole's got up Dak's number is the second highest number, 4 years at what average number, $42 million, second only to Patrick Mahomes. Jerry wouldn't have signed him if he wasn't confident, but we've seen that what damage Jerry's confidence can do. How concerned are you about the physical stuff?
You have to have some level of concern. I think I've probably downplayed it more than I need to in my mind. But you don't go through this level of negotiations without, one, protecting yourself in the event of something happening, so insurance on said contract, and two, feeling good about where he's at in his rehab process.
Yeah, every conversation I hear the guys screaming at me on my TV or on my radio, nobody talks about it. It's all about Dak before the injury. It's almost like it's an afterthought, right? And it makes me want to believe, okay, it's an afterthought. But I know what I saw, dude. I saw the guy's foot pointing the wrong way, right? So that would have to be a conversation. But I obviously, Jerry had that dive. I mean, his medical people had to get with the rehab people and do their own physical on him and do their own analysis to make Jerry decide, all right, I'm going to give you a $66 million check today.
Yeah, and it's one that we'll learn more as the contract comes out. Dak speaks, Jerry speaks about it, where they are in the rehab process, what kind of security that Dallas has, in case something bad happens in the rehab process, which I'm sure there are ways to get the contract back or certain amounts of said signing bonus. But then you also have to take a step back and look at the entire picture right now. And it's a division in which Dallas, as is, should still compete. I like Washington. I think what they did last year was fantastic, and they have established an elite front seven. They don't have a quarterback, so they're a team that's going to be good, but it will leave the door open. And that's why if you just look at where Dallas sits within their division, if you are thinking about Super Bowl, okay, I get that you're not there right now, but guess what? How do you get there? You got to get to the playoffs. I think with Dak Prescott healthy, that offense, they're good enough to push Washington and win that division, because Philadelphia's a disaster. I don't trust Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. So given all that, it's Washington and Dallas right now playing for the division.
Yeah, that's when I kind of, my eyebrow raises when you say they should compete in this division. I'm going to tell you, I think they should win this division.
They should win it? Okay, yeah.
I thought they should have won it last year.
And if as much as we talk about the quarterback, I think that is a fair step. Like, even with as constructed now, taking a look at the NFC East, you should win the division, Dallas.
I mean, look, I like what Washington is defensively. Like, I like them a lot better defensively than what Dallas is. But what is Washington offensively? They're Tyler Heinicke, Antonio Gibson, and McLaren. Like, what are they offensively? They don't
team that is going to be 8-8, 9-7, going to be a tough out. But they're that team. Like, man, if we just had that guy at the quarterback position.
Well, I don't even know if I think that. To me, that's what Dallas is offensively, right? Tell me what. Get me excited about something on Washington's offense. Antonio Gibson?
And McLaren. They're good players.
They're good.
They got a defense that.
They got a good defense. I like their defense.
That's why their defense is why I think that even with the questions at the quarterback position, you're looking at a team that is 8-8, 9-7, right, which could absolutely balance out when you got a Dallas team that's really good offensively and just as bad defensively.
Let me preface this, too. I think the conversation we're having now on March 9th about these teams is going to be much different than we do on July 9th. I think between free agency, the draft, and I think there's going to be a fairly active trade season, and I say relatively active. Not something you see in baseball, but more each year you see more trades in football than you do. The Giants interest me in some respect. Do they get Saquon Barkley back? Right? I mean, remember they basically played the last 2 years without one of the best running backs in football. And if they get him back, what does he look like? Does he look like that guy? And what's the development of Daniel Jones? They will go get a receiver. So what we're talking about now is going to be different than what we're talking about in July. However, Dallas, to me, you look at what they've got, what they've spent, and what they put together offensively. Like, it's on Kellen this year. Like, Kellen's got to score points. And by the way, it's on Dak, too. We forget, well, Dak had great numbers. Dak was They were 1-4 when he went out. He was trailing in just about every game, trailing big because he and they turned the ball over. The offense is him. Now, whether it's Zeke fumbling or him throwing the ball away, they were turning the ball away. He has to be better. You can show me all the gaudy numbers you want. He's got to be better, doesn't he?
He did. He threw 4 interceptions in 5 games.
Okay, how many fumbles? How many fumbles did he lose? I mean, that offense turned the ball over. They were down, JJ, they were down every game. The one game he won, they had to have that miraculous comeback, right? They got blued out by the Cleveland Browns, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, they weren't good last year.
Yeah,
but they're still better with Dak Prescott. If it it's as simple as this, y'all. Yes, Dak Prescott, and I'm not talking to you, Jeff. I'm talking to everyone else. If it was as simple as
I'll tune out.
Yeah, no. If it was just we just need to pay everyone else some money. You had Andy Dalton right there. You could have ran it back. Been like, Andy, you want $2 million to be our starting quarterback so we can pay everyone else? It was right there. But they didn't do that. Teams aren't doing that. Why? Because Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. And you need good quarterbacks they're still going to make money to win in the NFL.
True. Hey, back in 2003, I couldn't see well. I had halos around my vision. I needed glasses to drive. And that's when I was anchoring the morning news. And I would go in and I wear glasses in and put on my makeup and my contacts. I said, bleep it. And I called Dr. Coleman. I went to Coleman Vision. When I tell you it changed my life, I am not lying to you. And since then, Dr. Coleman and Ann, they become family to me. If you are having issues with your vision, if you think you are a candidate for LASIK, call Coleman Vision. Since 1998, Dr. Coleman has specialized in things like astigmatism, and I had a high degree of astigmatism, and their technology is cutting edge. There is nobody better. People come from all over the country to Coleman Vision to get this done. I'm talking about athletes. I'm talking about professionals. I'm talking about every walk of life. You walk in there, and the place is so welcoming, comforting, and the professionalism. The honest story, I went in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I got my procedure done. I opened my eyes and instantly noticed the difference just looking across the room, and I anchored the news at 5 o'clock the next morning. It was amazing, and the technology has just gotten better and better, and Dr. Coleman is on the cutting edge when it comes to this. I can't say enough great things about the Colemans, what Dr. Coleman has done to this community, but what he is professionally. He's simply the best, and that's why people are coming from all over the country to go see Dr. Coleman. If you're thinking about LASIK, call Coleman Vision. Go look at their website, colemanvision.com. See if you're a candidate. Make an appointment. The number is 505-821-8880. That's 821-8880. Call Coleman Vision. You will literally see the difference.
You can say a lot about yourself.
Rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Trying to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella, might try to jam one home.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what
Hill's gonna just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside. Fly. Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped. Stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
Over the paint. Medina from the volleyball line. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide coaches award program, and providing multiple
Ralph didn't give us a surf report this morning, but he did say enough on Dak. I miss cracker talk.
I agree.
Yeah.
You got the deal done. The man is getting paid. The man has good stats in the NFL. It's an established position. Focus on the rest of the roster. And now we can look at the NFL overall as the nation can go, thank you for getting the contract done. Move on.
But does he like Triscuits or Ritz crackers, really, is the issue. Ryan's listening in Texas. Not a Dak apologist, obviously, but it's hard to look at that contract breakdown and not see two things. One is that is very manageable in the first 2 years. And number two is that Jerry, who obviously has some insight on these talks, is preparing for a very large cap increase in the next 2 years with the new TV deal. Hate to say it, but it works to keep a good but often not great quarterback. Also makes it cheap to drop him after 3 years if he doesn't perform. Relatively cheap because you paid all the money up front, right?
Yeah.
And so I think Ryan's dead on. Jerry's anticipating the cap increasing. And so it's that's where it is. And all this money up front. So if you drop him, is it relatively cheap? It's a cheap cap hit. Yeah, you've given him the money. Money's gone anyway. It's just money, and right? And Jerry's got a factory for that. He just keeps churning it out and printing it and printing it and printing it. And so
those poor guys like Dan have to pay an extra $5 for their beers.
Well, yeah, Dan's going to have to pay an extra $5. Look, here's what I determined long ago, too. I think it was when I went out to what's now called Isleta Pavilion, but maybe it was Journal at the time. When I went out there and realized I'm paying $18 for a Coors Light, I realized it's just how it is, man. You know, I'm going to pay a lot of money.
Next time you go to a show, you got to wear cargo pants?
Well, cool cargo pants, actually. It's just how it is, man. If I'm going to have a beer, it's going to cost me $20 a pop. And you know, I go to an Ice Tubs game, it's $10, and it's probably going to go up this year, right? It's $10 a beer. It's how it is, man. It's not like going to Albertsons and getting a 12-pack for $11 or $12 or $8, whatever it is you're paying when it's on special. It's just you got to pay. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Dan says, reply to Dan, Jeffrey Juan Jose, and no Micah John. Why should Cowboy fans care? ? How many draft picks is Jerry going to have to toss in to sweeten the pot for someone to take this dud contract off his hands in a year or two? That's the point, Dan. This isn't a Jared Goff contract.
So is this a Dallas or Dak situation? Do they really think Dallas is that bad that they can't compete with Dak Prescott?
I think they think they're not sold on Dak is the conversation that I'm hearing. Let me ask you this, because this is where I'm coming in. Dak hits year 3 or 4, and he's not making a lot of money, right? Because all this money's been stacked up behind him, and now he's on a deal where he's making, I don't know, give me what's not a lot of money, $20 million, whatever. What's he getting in the last year? I mean, if he's getting 66 this year and he's getting another 30 next year, so he's got 36. He's got 98, so he's got 100 million of his 140. There's only 20 million left for the last 2. Is he going to walk into those last 2 years? Let's say he's performing at this crazy, great level. Is he coming in saying, I'm only making 20 million this year? I need more money?
Deal with, like, Aaron Rodgers is doing the same exact thing right now. Like, it's the side of the business you have to deal with it. You either say yes or no. You either say you sign the contract and you move on,
well, but it
or
works
you
both
pay
ways.
someone. Yeah. So, and that's why I'm not worried about it. Because then you could come to him and say, did you perform? Are you worth it? Do we need to take a step up? Because he's only going to be 31 at the end of this deal. So if he is coming and asking for more money, then guess what? That means things are probably working out in your favor.
Yeah, but if he's average and
then he's not asking for more money, and then you can just be like, nope, peace, see you later.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple at the end of the day, business.
Yeah, it is business. I got to believe there's an agreement. Hey, man, we're giving it all up front. You're not going to get a bunch in the back end. All right, well, I'll come to you then, and I'll tell you another.
And if things work out, he's 31, hitting the market again.
Well,
it's good business both ways. You're able to settle down on your franchise quarterback, and if things work out, you can get another payday. So you should be happy and not like worried. And so I'm wondering, is this a Dak conversation or is this a Dallas conversation? And it kind of feels like it's a little bit of both. But now you can focus on putting your team around him. You don't have this, franchise tag. We'll see what if. You're locked in. This is your dude. And by the way, you want to create some more cap space? Guess who after this season is easier to get rid of and who y'all should be talking about? Zeke Elliott. It's not Dak. It's Zeke. It's those contracts.
Yep. And where do guys like Antonio Gibson come from? And Zeke is the poster child for why you don't pay running backs. Right? I mean, he was dominant, got paid, and what's happened? I mean, he was.
That's the one position that I will use the rookie contract up. If I have a Zeke, a Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, be like, fantastic.
Every time.
Have fun playing at your next destination.
All 3 of those guys got paid. I don't think Saquon got paid, did he? Did he?
Not yet.
Christian McCaffrey did. He played 2 games last year. Zeke got paid. He was, would you say, less than pedestrian last year?
Yeah.
I mean, he was. Would you say was it average or below average running back in the NFL last year?
He was.
I'm with you 100%. You want to rely on a new guy every year? I'm down. Get me a second and third round running back every year. Find me an Aaron Jones every year. Because they're there. There's an Antonio Gibson might have gone higher. What was DeAndre Lyons?
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, he's my $15 keeper for next year. Find me a DeAndre Swift every year. They're there every single year. Well, they're not. That's fine. But if I could take that money and get me another edge rusher and run a rookie running back out there, am I not doing that? What if the Cowboys would have done that? Would they have been better with DeAndre Swift at running back instead of Zeke at a fraction of the price and spent that money on an edge rusher? Or
I think last
corner.
year,
Cover
once
corner.
you got into the season, the offensive line fell apart. So there
All
wasn't
right, then
much.
get me a damn tackle.
Well, that's what you do now.
Yes.
But last year going in, you thought, oh, you're set. And then you realize, oh, we're old and not as good at this position, which now you can turn all your attention to is edge rusher and offensive line the rest of the process.
Yeah, get me a tackle, whatever it is. I mean, that roster needs help. Where they don't need help is at the skill positions on offense. And now go shore up the nuts and bolts. You got all your fancy pieces. You got a quarterback, you got a running back. Who, I mean, let's see what. I'll give Zeke one more run. I'll give him another chance. I'm paying him. I got to, right? I'll give him another chance. I got 3 stud wide receivers, 4, maybe 3, decent tight end, and I just paid my quarterback the second highest amount of money in the league. They better, like JJ, when you tell me they should compete, I scoff.
They should
win that division. Yeah, they should compete. They should win that freaking division. It's the worst division.
Well, there you go.
Well, it's the worst division in football, and it's been that way for how many years now?
Mm-hmm.
They're horrible. The team that won it was 7-9. Yes, they should win that division. 505-246-0610 is how to get here. 888-922-0610. Jeff or JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Gentlemen, I got a few truths for you as you roll through your Tuesday. As you age, things like fatigue and low T and hair loss are natural. It happens. Pretty good chance it's going to happen to you. There is, however, something you can do to battle nature and you can feel like you again. If you're experiencing any of these things, if you're regularly tired, maybe you're carrying a few extra pounds or dealing with erectile dysfunction, I strongly suggest you call New Male. New Male is leading the way. They help men deal with these issues, and they've been doing that for years. Testosterone replacement that utilizes the latest cutting-edge technology, and men all over the country are benefiting from this. They feel better. Guys, call them at 505-652-1688. 652-1688 or visit Numale. That's NUMALE.com. Numale is convenient. They're here in Albuquerque, and the process is comfortable. It starts with your first phone call all the way through the treatment. Numale is right there guiding you through the process. And the best part is the results are real. 505-652-1688. Guys, don't put it off. Take care of you. Visit Numale.com or call them at 505-652-1688 and feel better.
I know.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji. Into Watson with the jam.
Far ball again. Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbayosi. Lob, 2-hand hammer. You knew that was coming.
the lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
All right, you can continue on the DAC stuff if you'd like. We're here for you. Sports Animal, Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com or JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. Jay Poll's producing on the TV side. Hello, Jay Poll. You can watch us on the Facebook, the OD and the AM, or on ProView Network's YouTube channel. Bobcat is in for Micah today on loan from the House of Strauss, amongst other things. So if you want to continue on that, I've got some Lady Lobo stuff for you, JJ, and then we're going to get to the phones. James says the women equal Boise State men, ? Jeff, forget about at large for the Lady Lobos. They have 0 games against Quad 1 and are 2-2 against Quad 2. The Phillies fattened up against the bottom of the Mountain West. Doesn't that sound like Fried Rice's club? Leon Rice's team played Houston, who is probably a 2 seed. They got beat. They got swept by San Diego State, but they swept Utah State. I don't know. There's just not a lot. This is a weird year.
It's like you can be good and not be an at-large team. Like that is something that can happen. Like this is still a good women's basketball team that didn't have a chance to build a resume. They split with the top 4 teams in the Mountain West. Well, top 3. Swept Colorado State. So. Yeah. Fattening up. Whatever.
I'd like to know how good this team is, and we're not going to get a chance. The only way we're going to get a chance to know how good this team this year is if they go to the NIT. And I'm not telling you that's the ideal outcome for them, because if they go to the NCAA tournament, JJ, they're going to be a 15 seed. Right? Coming out of this one bid league, they're going to be – and so then they're going to get one of these powers, and they're going to – it's women's basketball, 15-2 games are a different world, right? So I'd love to see how good they are. And honestly, the only way we're going to find that out is if they get into the NIT and they play like teams.
That is fair. And we are judging them on what we've seen in this season.
Bruin James
versus Mountain West competition. They're a good basketball team versus everyone else. Not sure. And, yeah, they would be a hefty underdog in that scenario in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Ren says, unflippin' believable, Jeff. I was supposed to go crazy with the Lady Lobos beating CSU last week. Quite frankly, the Rams looked awful last night. As far as the host Rebels, Linda LaRocque can take that Mountain West Conference Coach of the Year trophy and stick it in the nearest casino dumpster. UNLV looked outmatched and unprepared. UNLV got run out of the tournament yesterday, the number 2 seed at home by Wyoming, 72-56 last night. And so I'll tell you what, if you win tonight, and I don't know that they're going to win tonight, but if they win tonight, they got a pretty good chance of going to the NCAA tournament.
Well, we'll see, because Boise State has won 13 Mountain West tournament games in a row, and that is still a really good basketball team that just had a wacky regular season and end up the 6th seed in this conference. And Colorado State finished the year bad. The Lobos put them in a terrible spot. They held them down for 2 games. They weren't able to get their rhythm back going to Las Vegas, because this was a Colorado State team that beat Boise State twice handily earlier in conference play, and then loses yesterday 78-65. And yeah, Wyoming took it to UNLV. That final score is 80-69. So you look at your other semifinal tonight, it's a 7-6 matchup.
All right, Fred, good morning. You're on the opening drive. Good morning, Fred. How you living?
Well, you just ruined it for me. You just told everything I was going to say. I was going to mention that UNLV, the Coach of the Year, she lost 72-56, and Boise State, beating Colorado State, and JJ already said that they've been dominating the tournaments for years now. The only thing I can tell you is, because we didn't play Boise State, but they had a girl last night. Her name is Jade Lovell. She scored 29 points. Like I said, I don't even know who she is. I don't know if JJ has any idea either, because we didn't play Boise. But first we got to get through Fresno State. And the one thing that the 2 games that we played, we didn't shoot threes worth a darn. So we were 6 for 30 in the win, which is 20%, and we were 7 for 34 in the loss to them. So we're going to have to shoot better if we're going to beat them. And then it's really kind of neat, though. Again, here we got the Twins against the Twins. We've already seen it once, but it'll be interesting. But I just wanted to mention about Wyoming and UNLV and Boise and Colorado State, and you guys pretty much said it all. So
beautiful.
You cut
all
my
right.
thunder.
Sorry, Fred.
But
Sorry
anyway,
to steal it.
Okay, guys. See ya.
All right, be well.
See you guys.
See you. All right, you took away Fred's segment, for crying out loud. What's wrong with you?
Sorry.
Bruin James, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, James.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
How many teams do you think the Pac-12 will get in, both women and men?
I don't know about the women. JJ, I'm thinking, 4 on the men's side? I think SC and UCLA are in. Colorado and Stanford, maybe.
Oregon.
So.
And Oregon. So I have 4, and if they're lucky, 5.
So this weekend wasn't a very good weekend for my Bruins because
no,
from the other side of town came over, and that was a lucky shot, man.
Did you see that? So James, here's the deal: that you can't lose that game. You're in Pauley. I tuned the game in with about 3.5 minutes to go, and the Bruins were up by 8, and I watched them just pee down their leg.
Yeah,
is that too graphic?
Right. That kid from SC he was a pretty formidable foe in the middle there. I never heard of him, and I was like, man. So
SC's nice. SC's nice. But you can't lose that game at home, up 8 late like that. And I mean, it hurts. The kid hit an unbelievable shot. You make a good defensive stand. You block the ball, goes out of bounds. They reset on an inbound pay with 3 minutes to go, and the kid hits a fall-away 3 out of the corner. Boom.
Right. So as a former booster, I wasn't on board with Mick Cronin at the beginning, but you know what? I seen what I seen what he can do, and he's did a lot with not a lot of talent, and he's brought a lot of good kids in next year, and I gotta say he's all right, and that's why he had the Price family pay his. Basically, he works for the Price family. He don't work for UCLA. So, all right, guys, take care. You guys have a good one, man.
All right,
Bye.
see you. All right, he called it 246-0610, and you can as well. You can send us an email if you want as well at Jeff or JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. I want to tell you about On the Spot Auto Detailing, because what they do is terrific. You get a lot of money invested in your vehicle. A lot of money invested in your vehicle. How do you protect it? How do you preserve it? How do you take care of it? And I suggest you call On the Spot Auto Detailing. What they do is phenomenal. Like, there's a lot of stuff on the road that beats up your vehicle, rocks and salt and dirt and just cars and grocery carts. Protect what's important. On the Spot Auto Detailing comes out and details your vehicle. That means inside and out. And they got a special ceramic coating if that's something that you want, that'll last for 5 years, that'll protect your vehicle's paint job. On the Spot Auto Detailing is phenomenal, not just because of the service, and that is first rate, but because of what they do and how they do it. I don't know where they are. It doesn't matter. They know where I am. They come to me whenever and wherever it's convenient. So I'm at home. I'm working out of home. They come to the driveway. They detail my vehicle. If you're at the office, they'll be in the parking lot. While you're working, they spend an hour or more detailing your vehicle. When they're done, it looks, smells, feels like the day took it off the lot. All that stink and the stains and the spills and the French fries and the wrappers and the pet hair and all that stuff your kids left in the back, it's gone. It's gone. It's like the day you took it off the lot. Call On the Spot Auto Detailing. Protect what's such a valuable asset to you, your vehicle. On the Spot Auto Detailing, 505-859-2859. That's how to get a hold of them. 505-859-2859. Or visit the website. It's otsdetailing.com.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points.
Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A three for
set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good.
Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing,
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this. They're going to go score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak. Ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Ramos wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Got into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer for Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, get it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Danion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Akbayosi throws it down.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's good.
All right, I got a couple emails I want to get to, and then we're going to go back to the phones. It's if you want to get in, 246-0610. Ren says, Crusher Jr. Jeff, we need to get Edward's son on the show one day. Want to bet he's the exact opposite? Shy, humble, refreshingly, painfully ordinary? It's kind of humorous to me. This one's from Dan on Bobcat. He says, Jeffrey, Johnny Buck Jr., and No Micah John. Do you need to give Strauss a security deposit to make sure you return his little Bobcat to the house in one piece? It's from Dan. Bob, you okay? You going to be able to go back to Eric? You're undamaged from doing 2 days with us, and you're in one piece. You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing just fine. And then I'm doing Sports Bar tomorrow.
Ooh, check you out doing all kinds of sports. Are you going to be like, what's the difference? Is it pace? Is it Strauss's show is a little? I don't know. What's the difference between the shows that you do over here and there? Aside from the obvious in content.
Strauss is very intense, let's put it that way.
Yeah, a lot less.
A little bit more laid back.
A lot less anger, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when you're going to call it Regio, you're being encouraged.
Oh,
to
do I need to get mad? I can get mad.
Yeah.
How dare Dak Prescott sign a contract like that? Who does he think he is taking that kind of money, hurting his franchise team?
Now, that's only the 9 o'clock hour on Saturday.
Only in the 9 o'clock hour?
Well, that's the Regio is the 9 o'clock hour.
Well, don't you just have to cut everybody off and not let them speak, especially if they have a differing opinion? Oh, did I say that, Bob?
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. Isn't that how that has to work? You have to cut them off if they have a different opinion, right?
Move on.
Come on. That's good. Good answer, Bob. Very good answer. All right, we'll return you in one piece, but I'm glad you've been able to hang with us for a couple of days. Hey, real quick, and I'm going to the phones. JJ, and there's an obvious absence. I think this is the first time. I've been doing this show 12 and a half years, so I believe that to be 13 basketball seasons. And I know it's the first time we've gone into a conference tournament without having some sort of a Lobo men's basketball preview for the conference tournament. And I apologize to our listeners. It's certainly not for lack of effort. We have reached out. The program's really... It's been hard to get access to that program, and I know we've had women's content and we've had the Aggies, and we've tried for Lobo men's basketball, and I know you care. They play tomorrow. I know the situation with the coach and everything, but it's not that we've just given up on that. I just want, I've got a couple things. It's all Aggies, and what about the Lobos? I get that all the time, and we've tried, JJ. You and I have both tried, and it's just it's. I mean, at least to us, and I would assume to everybody, it's been pretty inaccessible. There's been no access.
Where we are right now, just addressing what's in front of us, and as for the men, it's the opening game against Fresno State tomorrow night, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to discuss in terms of that matchup and what to expect from the Lobos when they take the floor.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you it's not disappointing. We've been doing this for a lot of years, and I know we've treated their coaches and student athletes very well, very fairly. So it's disappointing, but it is what it is. And I just it's why you haven't heard anything. 505-246-0610. Sean, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Sean.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's it going?
It's good. How you living?
Doing well. So the further it gets into it, the more I think the Jets should stick with Sam Darnold.
Agreed.
Chris Sims, for some reason, has Zach Wilson rated above Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
Now, I understand the Jaguars are doing their due diligence into Zach Wilson, but if some miracle happens and the Jaguars take Wilson, that is the only reason the Jets take a quarterback in the first round.
That's correct. Look, guys go out on a limb all the time, right? Nobody, JJ, had Patrick Mahomes rated at the top of that draft class, right? Who was in that draft class? Was that the Josh Allen draft class? Whatever it was.
Class of 4.
Okay, who's in Patrick Mahomes' draft class? Quarterbacks.
Trubisky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Trubisky, Watson, Mahomes.
All right, Deshaun Watson was in there. But nobody had Mahomes ranked that high. And although Deshaun Watson went late, 20-something, right?
No, Deshaun Watson and Mahomes were both between 10 and 12.
Okay, all right. So everybody wants to be different, and there's, here's the deal, Sean. When you make a call like that, there's no accountability. You don't have to be right. You can go on the record and say, this is my guy. And if you're right, you point back and say, see, I'm right. I told you I was right. And if not, well, I was wrong. So what? Move on.
Well, we'll go
Prediction
on a limb
business.
here. If the Jets trade back to maybe 8, maybe even further back, maybe take Mac Jones.
Okay. Well, does that make you feel better? Do you want Mac Jones? You want Sam Darnold?
I'd like to see Mac Jones in green.
Okay.
If we can get Mac Jones later in the first round, take him.
And then do what with Sam Darnold?
Maybe play out another year, see what happens. We could tag him after that and then trade him. We have options.
You got a lot of options.
We have
I think your
a ton
option
of
is go
cap
build your
space.
football team. That's a go build your football team. You got a quarterback who I think is decent, and if it doesn't work, if he's horrible this year, and then you'll find yourself in this position next year and get next year's flavor of the month.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
College draft is a carousel. It is the best quarterback carousel for any needy team. Free agency doesn't work out like it does for the Buccaneers, for every team. We'll see what happens with Stafford and Wentz and everybody else has been on the move. But, yeah, I think Darnold is the best option if we can't get Lawrence number 2.
I agree with you. All right, man. Be well.
Appreciate you, gentlemen. You have a good day.
See ya. If I'm the Jets, I've invested in this guy. I think he's good. I haven't seen a lot. Let me go build my football team.
Well, and
If
you
it
get a
doesn't
new
work next
coaching
year-
staff. You get a whole new philosophy across the board. And I do think of the bad football teams, the New York Jets are the team with the best options. Whether it is 2 years, Sam Darnold, see what we got before we have to pay him, or select who they feel is the best quarterback after Zach Wilson, trade Sam Darnold for more assets, kind of restart that window with a rookie quarterback. I think they are in a good position with either way that they decide to go.
Yeah, I got absolutely. But I keep that guy, and I build my football team. That's where I am. But that's just me. 505-246-0610. All right, do I have any other emails that you guys sent me that I didn't get to you? I want to make sure I got all of your stuff in. Mike said, UCLA's paying you a lot of money, Jeff Alou. You better be doing something. They're paying you $5.5 million a year. Mick Cronin. Did you?
It's gonna catch up. It's gonna catch up to him soon. That amount of money, and they're not paying him $5 million to be an 11 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Not at UCLA, they're not. Not at UCLA, they're not. Absolutely not. All right, you take the air at 5:30 today. You and Nikki. You've got Louisville women's basketball semifinals conference tournament against Fresno State. Quick preview for people. Make sure that they get listening to you this afternoon.
Well, this is a championship level basketball game in the semifinals. Fresno State, there's an argument to be made. They're playing the best basketball of anyone at this moment in time. These teams match up so well. You got the Mountain West Player of the Year, Haley Cavender, point guard for Fresno State. You got the sixth person there, Latasia. So you got big-time ballers on the perimeter. You got teams that like to play fast, but it's going to be half-court execution as things tighten up this season, what kind of shots you're going to get. If Air Force was dangerous, Fresno State is a nightmare. But it's March, and you got to beat good teams to advance.
All right, JJ takes the air at 5:30 with Nikki, and tip-off at 6 o'clock. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowherd is after that. Trulio and Carlisle have the sports bar this afternoon at 3, leading into Louisville women's basketball.
30.
We're back tomorrow morning with more award-winning radio for you starting at 7 a.m. Jay Pohl, great work on the TV side. Bobcat, thanks for spending the last couple of days with us. Appreciate you getting up early, and I know it's not easy, so thanks for doing such a great job with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
JJ, have a great call today.
Have a day, y'all.
Enjoy the day. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the. Behind the back of the dribble. Trying to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotman sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous. Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam on home.